If you feel your voice are being unheard, then come and connect with us. We are Latwas.
L.R. Bisnoy, the Director General of Police in Meghalaya, stated on March 31st that the main causes of human trafficking in the region are situations characterized by beggared socio-economic condition, poor families, inadequate motherhood, and a lack of employment opportunities. The DGP, while speaking at a state-level conference regarding anti-human trafficking in Shillong, declared that being controlled by agencies, groups, or a nexus can ultimately trap an individual due to two influential factors, the push and the pull. According to him, these circumstances can cause immense stress on young girls and boys, leaving them susceptible to trafficking as they are compelled to fall prey to false employment opportunities and promise of an alternative career.
If you have interest in history, in 11th century, the Alberuni visited India. And after that, in 14th century, Ibn Battuta also came here. Both of these travelers, they mentioned about the problems of the slaves system in India, where the human beings were purchased and sold like any other commodity. This slavery system is just like a component of human trafficking. And the human trafficking has many facets. The Article 370 of the IPC and the Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act 1956, they have described the human traffickings in very details. So basically, I'm not going for exact legal definition, but it has to be three components in it. First is action, second is transportation, and third is the purpose. So the Article 370 has mentioned 5 or 6 action points. You have to take a person either by fraudulent means, or by deceit, or by the forceful means, like that, 5 or 6 factors they have mentioned. Then the transportations of the trafficking victims, the shelter or harborers, the receptions, destinations, and then purpose. There are many purposes why the human being indulges in purchasing and the selling of the human being itself. So there are many purposes are given, like the commercially exploitations, commercially sexual exploitations, bonded labors, the beggings, the drug peddling, organ donations, even the domestic servant. So these are the few purposes. So as per investigations, if any of these purposes, one action, one transportation point, and one purpose, if IO can prove it in the court, then case can be convicted. But it is quite a challenging task, you know. Why it is a challenging? Because proving component, all these three parts of any components is not that easy. It requires a hell lot of efforts by the IO at his levels, as well as the efforts by the supervisory officers. Then many acts are involved. The multiple of legal acts are involved. Those who are students of law, they may be aware that other than the IPC and Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act 1956, it also involved the Child Marriage Prevention Act. It also involved the Bonded Labor Prevention and Regulations Act. It also involved the Migrations of the Labour Prevention Act, Prevention and Regulations Act. So when the multiples of the acts are involved, then IO must be aware about the legal provisions of all these acts. So that is why the investigation is quite challenging in these cases, and the conviction rate is quite inadequate. In Meghalaya, if we go through for last 6-year data, only 19 cases were registered. 6-year data. And out of these 19 cases, only I think 3 or 4 cases were convicted successfully. So you can imagine the task is quite challenging and very difficult. Very difficult is as compared to the cases registered normal under the IPC Act. Very, very difficult for investigating officers. So that is why the government of India, the Supreme Court, the state governments, all of them, they have realized the gravity of the crime, and n number of provisions were laid down. The government of India, I think 5 or 6 years back, they have opened the Women's Safety Division in the Ministry of Home Affairs. This division was not there earlier. Only when the human trafficking cases were started showing increasing trend, then they have opened this division. And in the Women's Safety Division, under Women's Safety Divisions, there is the prevention of trafficking or the human trafficking cell they have opened, and the joint secretary level nodal officer was appointed to supervise the provisions of the trafficking act cases throughout India. They have also constituted the anti-human trafficking unit in each and every state, in each and every district of India. There are nearly 700 districts in India. So in all those districts, AHTU, anti-human trafficking units were opened. But unfortunately, these units, they have to perform multiple tasks. They are not exclusively committed unit to take care of the anti-human trafficking cases. So, and secondly, the team is not very big team. The team is led by inspector. It has 2 sub-inspector, 2 head constable, and 2 constable in it. So this is the new, after the particularly in the 2013, after Bachpan Bachao Andolans versus the Government of India Act, the Government of India in the Supreme Court decisions, they have laid down certain provisions, and by keeping those provisions in view, the anti-human trafficking units were constituted, and the Supreme Court has given various guidelines to sensitize people, to organize workshop, to create awareness program as a preventive steps, as a preventive step. So that is why we are organizing this workshop, and these workshops are funded by the Government of India, Ministry of Home Affairs. So what can be the likely causes which come to your mind? Why the people indulge in purchasing and selling of our own fellow brothers and sisters? So definitely there may be some causes. So if you can divide all the causes into factors, then broadly it can be 2. One is push factor, another is pull factor. What can be the likely push factor? Like the socio-economic and political causes are the push factor. The economic causes is a very simple: poverty, unemployment, lack of job opportunities, the backwardness of the area, lack of development in particular area. These are the push factors under economic head. And the social factor, the new officers may not be aware, that India is a very unique from social dimension of point of view. For example, in Meghalaya, what can be the likely social factor? The factor which is most prevalent.
If you feel your voice are being unheard, then come and connect with us. We are Latwas.